like you've lost that loving feeling? Like you literally do not love your business anymore. And you actually resent having to do the things you need to do to grow your business. Hi, I'm Melanie Benson. I'm America's leading small business optimizer, and this is our small business optimizer tip, how to make your business perform better. And today, we're going to focus on how to fall in love with your business again. And it's a real thing. It's really something that a lot of entrepreneurs deal with, and that is you've lost the passion, you've lost the fire, you don't have the momentum, you kind of wish that you could run off and play hooky, and maybe you do. You know, maybe you find that you're out there at the beach or parked in front of the TV watching reruns of Law and Order, right? Well, if you've lost that feeling, you can get it back. But most people, they don't realize that the reason they're not achieving bigger goals, the reason why you haven't really tapped into that next level of success, the reason why you're feeling a little confused and you're not clear on what to do next is because you have disengaged. You kind of lost that trajectory that was causing you to really achieve big things quickly. So let's say you have lost the feeling. You feel a little lack in your flow. You don't really feel like you want to get up and get the day started. What can you do? You know, I think the first thing, and by the way, I've had this feeling multiple times. I've been through another version of it recently, and so I'm really just sharing what works for me and what I found when I'm working with clients and I'm having to help them boost their motivation again, what's working for them. So let me just say that this tip is something you've got to try it for yourself. You've got to put the test into action and see what's going to work for you. But these are some things that I really do, I believe, work to get that motivation and that fire brewing again. And the first thing is you've got to get reconnected to your why. If you are losing the momentum and you're not feeling passionate about getting active in your business and you don't feel that I'll conquer any mountain in front of me feeling, it's probably because you're disconnected from your why. Why did you start your business in the first place? What did you want from business? What is it that lit your fire in the first place? Literally get out a piece of paper, or call a friend, or call your coach, or call me if I'm your coach, and let's figure out what is it that you lost. Where did the why get disconnected for you? One of the easiest things to do is get out a piece of paper and say, the reason I started my business in the first place was, and just write and write and write until you are feeling like, okay, I remember why I did this in the first place. It's really easy as a business owner and someone who feels like you're wearing many hats, not just the hat that you're most passionate about, to lose the steam and to lose the energy and the vibrancy of your passion when you're having to do everything that you're not good at, or when you're having to wear all the hats of being a leader and a visionary. There are other things we have to do, and it will oftentimes feel like you've lost the why. So reconnect to it. And then you have to evaluate and look at, have I made choices in my business that have lost the passion, that I've lost that why, that I made a wrong turn somewhere and I got distracted and I went a little sideways. And that's where you need to do a course correct. You may literally need to just course correct and get back on track. Make some new decisions. You might need to let go of some things that aren't serving you. You may need to do more of the things that are your big why and reactivate it. And that brings me to the second step. And that is sometimes you have to reevaluate, where is your real genius? Gay Hendricks wrote a book called The Big Leap. It's been one of the most profound books I've read in this last decade. And it was very inspiring for me to read it at the time that I did because I truly lost my why. I felt very disconnected and very uninspired to do the things that I'd been doing for the first 8 years in my business. And when I read it, I realized, wow, I really was missing my genius. And I wasn't doing what was in my genius. I was doing what was comfortable, what was practical, what was easy, what made money, and those aren't bad reasons to do things, but they don't allow you to keep the fire brewing. They don't keep you growing and challenging your limits. And what I realized is that I had, in essence, killed my passion by not spending enough time doing things that were in my genius. And so maybe you can relate to that too, and you don't do the things that light your fire enough during your day. Or all the other things that you're doing take so much time and energy that you feel like you don't have time to do what you're passionate about. So let's fix that. This is an easy fix. Seriously, over the next week, you've got to carve out some time to do the things you're passionate about. Even if that means you've got to take a break, you've got to disconnect from business and go recharge. I oftentimes will do that. I'll just wipe my schedule clear and I need to go do some recharging. I'll go to the beach. I'll schedule a day at the spa. I'll read, or, worst case scenario, I'll have a TV marathon if I'm really low. A lot of times I'll go for a hike and just get connected again. And that's really an important step in lighting the fire and falling back in love with your business, is you've got to do more of the things that you need to do that light your fire and make you feel the passion come alive. Now, the third thing is, I mentioned this earlier, but I want to go a little bit deeper into it, and that is you might need to figure out what you need to stop doing. Many entrepreneurs get caught up in the treadmill effect, where something starts to work and we just get on the treadmill and we just keep going and going and going and going, and you realize after a while, like, oh, okay, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I'm in this autopilot and it's not really fun, and I'm not having the results I want here. So you may actually need to get off the treadmill and stop doing some things that aren't really performing well, that they're sucking up time and energy and financial resources, your team's bandwidth, and they're ineffective, they're not supporting you, they're not aligned with your passion. You might need to kill some projects and some offerings. I was reading an email from someone who I'm involved in a Summit with, Brian Johnson, the optimizer. And, he was talking about how he was simplifying. He realized there were all these things they were doing that weren't really performing, or they weren't really lighting their fire. So they cleaned it out and stopped doing a lot of the things that weren't enjoyable for them anymore. So congratulations. I have had to do that myself. I've had to take a step back and, say no to some things that are enjoyable. I'm good at them. People request them all the time, but they're not really lighting my fire right now. So take a step back, say no, be willing to have the courage to release what is not serving you and which is in your way of having the fire and the passion. I know sometimes it's a little scary, because you might actually have this really nice, well-oiled machine that produces a lot of money, but you're bored with it, it doesn't bring you joy, and you're deeply feeling that ache for wanting to have more meaning and more significance in what you do. And if that's where you're at, then you need to evaluate, is it a missing why? Or are you missing time in your genius? Or the third angle, the third option, perhaps you have actually evolved. As a leader, as somebody who is an expert, maybe you have a big passion, you are evolving all the time. Every human being on this planet is evolving. Some of us are rapidly evolving. Some of us are just taking little baby steps, but we're always evolving. And when you're constantly evolving, you are actually going to find eventually that the things you said yes to years ago, months ago, and sometimes even weeks ago are no longer serving you. Be willing to have the courage to face those things, to face those areas of your life, and release what's no longer serving you, especially when it comes to your business. If you are evolving and growing, now keep in mind, this is very different than you're bored or you're restless and you have idea addiction. Okay, that's a whole different thing, when you just get restless and you don't actually finish what you started and you don't really optimize your offerings properly. I'm talking about you have seriously become somebody new. You've evolved to the point which you built your business around is no longer something you can sustain. You need to evolve your offerings because you've become a new person. Congratulations. You are awakening as a leader in a different way. You have evolved and become somebody who is ready to face a new challenge. You want to build a new mountain. And that means you have to have the courage to let go of what's not serving you, or figure out a way to sustain that financially, whether you hire someone to run that business or you get it on autopilot so you can activate this new place that you want to build your business around. And it's all good. You just have to get which of these things is up for you and then decide. Making the decision is the single greatest thing to bring the passion back. Decide you will say yes. Say yes to your greatness. Say yes to what makes you happy. Say yes to the passion. Say yes to your bigger why. But please don't just sit there and suffer and struggle, because that is a dream killer, and that will crop up all kinds of fears, and you'll find eventually that you're just limping along in your comfort zone, and that's not really going to bring anybody happiness, right? Let alone profitability. Now, if you're relating this in some way and you felt like maybe you've been a little conflicted, you haven't been clear, you have lost that motivation, and you realize maybe you need to do some cleaning up of the inner game, right? There's something going on up here that you need to do a little recoding of the brain cells so that you can activate more clarity in your next level of success. I'd like to share a free tool with you real quick before we go. Head on over to money-dna.com/recode. And I've got a free resource for you there. This is something that you can schedule time to watch the next upcoming training session and learn how your limiting thoughts, your false beliefs, how sneaky success barriers may be working against you, which is causing you to lose that motivation and to fall out of love with your business. Because you've literally made up all this stuff in your mind about why your business is working or why it's not. And that could be the root of the challenge. I'd love to share that resource with you. I think you'll find it very valuable, and it'll explain the entire process of how to get your brain to achieve higher levels of success. I'm Melanie Benson, and I love hearing from you, so I'd love to hear what your insight or your takeaway was from today's show. And we'll be back again next week with another really inspiring and powerhouse guest. Bye for now.